Hi guys, how are you? All right, we are on day 9. So we have just one more week to go after today with our 12 days of Christmas. So we're gonna just again kind of dive right in to our to the 3 projects that we're making. So we're gonna start with a card sketch. So let me pull that through. Here we go. So we are going to make, which one are we making? Oh, we're making this one up here. Number 9. Can you see that right there? It's like the little catalog is. So this is, I guess this might be a better way to put it. That one right there is what we're going to make. So I'm using a few different colors for this one, but they're all coordinating colors on the back of the designer series paper. So I thought, well, we'll use that. So this is a piece of old olive that is cut at 4 1/4 by 11. So we're going to need that. And I did not score this piece. So we're just going to fold it right here. And we'll just burnish it. You know, I prefer like scoring the cardstock, but I will tell you, when you do it with your bone folder, sometimes you can get it lined up. As I said that, this is a little off. You can line it up so much more straight. And I do think that's the case. All right. Then we have a piece that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And this is pumpkin pie. So we are going to be layering that right on top of our piece of old olive. So this looks a little more like, I would say, fall than winter, but I wanted to just give you guys an idea of how you can also, even though it's 12 days of Christmas, right? But you could start using this right now and send it to people and send kind of more like Thanksgiving Day cards. The sentiments are very conducive to that, with thinking of you always and thank you. So lots of good sentiments. Although I absolutely love all of the autumn sets that came out in this catalog. So I'm looking forward to showing those to you guys in the next few weeks after we do the Christmas. All right, so I have 2 pieces that are cut at 3 1/4 by 2. So I have 2 of those. And then I have another 2 that are 2 by 2. So this is all out of the designer series paper. And the great thing about this card is you can use all these scraps that you have. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to lay this out. Now we're only going to have like an 1/8 of a margin around the outside of the card. So we're going to start with the birds in the corner. And oops. Hello. So I hope you guys have had a wonderful day. It has been absolutely beautiful here. Just a lovely, lovely Sunday. So, all right. So again, I'm just going to make it so I have a real thin border around the edge. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this one here. I'm going to line it up to get that thin border. And I did, just so you guys know, I did put it all down on the paper before so that I could make sure that it was kind of even on all sides, which is what I would recommend. So as you do a project like this, I would definitely make sure that maybe you have everything kind of lined up the way you want it on your paper, just laying there before you actually adhere anything. So now we're going to put this one, I think, down here. And I'm just going to make sure. Yeah, I think it's this way that goes. All right. And then we're going to put the other one up there. This is 2 by 2, so it doesn't really matter which direction it went. But it looks like I was a little bit off with the measurements. So one of the things, if you guys ever find that sometimes your cardstock isn't just, I don't know, lining up exactly, when you go to trim it, I would suggest that you put, like cut them all at the exact same place. So obviously I'm not sure I did that myself here, but that's okay. And then we're going to take this one here and we're going to put it up in that upper right hand corner. So in other words, when you go to cut your pieces, line them up on the trimmer, so you're always cutting either on the line or before the line, whatever you prefer. Okay, so there is the front of our card. Now we're going to attach a greeting, and we're going to use this piece here. And if you remember, the greeting was just kind of small and it was right in the middle. So we're going to use Thinking of You always. Oops. A little bigger block than that. Oops, sorry. Let me grab one that's a little bit better. There we go. And we're going to use some early espresso, and we're just going to tap that in and stamp that kind of across the bottom here. There we go. And then we're going to trim that down. All right. So this is our nice, easy template. All right, here we go. So, there we go. Now we could flag these ends to this particular greeting if we wanted to. I think I'm just gonna leave it like this, but I'm gonna put a little bow to the right of it. So I'm just gonna use, again, a little bit of this twine, only this time, actually I'm not gonna do a bow. I'm going to loop it around just to show you guys another option here. So I'm going to loop it around, and then I'm going to attach this to a glue dot. I'm running out of, I'm going to have to get out some more glue dots there. Okay. So you guys don't forget, as I'm doing this here, don't forget that Stampin' Up! Is having its kits are up to 30% off, and they have a great kind of opportunity to join Stampin' Up! So I love that. That's always fun. All right, so now what we're going to do is we have kind of our twine coming out. So I'm going to go ahead and put some dimensionals on this, and then I'm just going to put it right over the center there. Okay, and actually I'm going to do one other thing. All right, so this piece of cardstock is just the regular white cardstock. So I'm going to show you guys something else here. We're just going to do this real quickly. I'm going to take this, because I have this other piece sitting right here, and watch this. I am going to give it a little bit of a border, and I'll tell you, oops, let me turn it right. Actually, I'm going to do just a border on the top and the bottom, because this is even all the way around. So I'm going to just layer this right on top of the current cardstock. And what that's going to do is it's going to make this a little bit thicker and give me just a little bit more dimension. But the big thing is it's giving me, it's going to give us that nice thicker border so it doesn't sag in the middle. So can you guys see that? I hope you can see that. See how it's kind of like just beveled up on the edges? So if you ever get a piece and you're like, oh, I don't know, you don't want it to sag, that is a perfect way to do it. So we're going to put dimensionals on both ends. And the twine in the middle, or the linen thread, should kind of keep this a little bit kind of up in the air in the center. So we're just going to put that right there in the middle. Make sure it's lined up. And voila, there we go. You guys are going to have to tell me what you think about the colors. So let me show you again. This was our sketch that we went by. And then this is our card that we made. So super fun. All right. And to finish it off, of course, we're just going to add a couple of our little embellishments here. And I think I'm going to use these green ones. So we'll just put, maybe we'll do this. We'll just put one on each end. That'll be pretty. Add a little splash of color there. Let's get that lined up. Perfect. There we go. All right, you guys. So that is card number 1. All right, now we're going to move on to our second project. And I think we'll do our fun fold. Now, our fun fold is a little different in that it is just a slimline card. So it's still a fun fold because it's not a regular card base. So what you're going to need for this one is a piece of 6x6, and this is Granny Apple Green. And then we have a piece that is 2 7/8 by 5 7/8. So this is for the inside of our card for us to write down. Then this is a piece of the designer series paper, the wood grain, which I think is beautiful. And this is cut at the same size. It's going to be 2 7/8 by 5 7/8. So again, these cards, I think most of them, well, the 3D project doesn't, but the 2 cards are 1/8 of an inch off. So just to kind of give you something there. Okay, then we're going to have, I went ahead and die cut out one of the birds from the paper. So I showed you how to do this on Friday, where we just took this die here and it lines right up with the designer series paper. So it's beautiful. And then I took and made 3 of these wreaths. Now, I'm going to show you guys, because this is another one where I just stamped the image and then I die cut it out using this die. Now, when the image is stamped, it's empty. So in other words, it's just whatever ink color you stamped it in, and then all the leaves and the berries are all whatever color the cardstock is. So in this case, they were all white. But I wanted to make a wreath with them. So I'm just going to show you the colors I used, okay? And then you can pretty much probably figure it out. So I used light crumb cake, and I guess I'll point out. So that was for these little items on all the ends. Then I used real red. This is dark real red. And I used that for all the berries. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. This is light real red. And I used that for all the berries. And then I used old olive for these big leaves. And then for the smaller leaves, I used Granny Apple Green. So that's kind of all the colors that I used for these particular leaves here. Okay, so we needed those. Then I have a stamped sentiment that is on 3/4 by 2 inches, and this is our, it's actually 2, I would say 2 1/4. It's just a little slightly bigger. It's like 2 1/8, but okay. And that's our sentiment. And I already stamped it just to save us some time. So this is our mini card. The other thing I'm going to show you then is how to make the envelope. So we're just going to stick with one thing at a time. We're going to do the card. Then I'm going to show you how to make an envelope that fits this card. So this card is, again, when it's folded, it's 3 by 6. But remember, you can't mail a card that's under 3.5 by 5. Okay, the post office will, I don't even know what they do. I don't know if they send it back to you. They might just throw it away. I'm not exactly sure, but okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our piece of designer paper and we are just going to put some adhesive on that, and we are going to put it right on the front of our card here. And again, we have a very thin border. So we just need to get that nice and even all the way around. So before we really press, we're going to line up the edges there. There we go. So done. All right. And this card comes together so quickly. And if you have designer series paper, by the way, you could actually make this whole thing into a piece of 6x6 designer paper and then fill it with white. All right, so now what we're doing is we are going to take 2 of these. Now I made 3 just in case, but I only need 2. Now the other thing we could do is we could conceivably, what was I going to say? We could conceivably cut these up and use all 3 of them. So I'm put one on the top and one on the bottom, and I just want to look to see kind of where my bird is going to go. All right, because I kind of want my bird in the middle to be my this whole thing to be the focal point. So I think I can have him there, and then put him in after I already glue the wreaths down. So I'm going to glue this wreath down first. So I'm just going to add some adhesive here. Now the other thing you could do with these wreaths, and I've thought about this, and I might actually take one of them and we'll just see if we want to fill any in, but you could also trim these right down the middle or around those berries and get a totally different look. Now when I glue this one down, I'm going to glue more along the bottom, okay, because I want to leave the part that's up here just in case I need to kind of tuck the bird in, if that makes sense. So I'm going to bring this down just so it's nice and even with the one on top. So there you have it. So there's our nice wreath. Isn't that beautiful? You guys can make a whole nother card. Like, you know, just type of card. Okay, now I'm going to take my little bird here, and I think I'm just going to put it right like that. Okay, right in the middle, just like that. So I'm going to add some adhesive to the bird, and I'm not going to pop it up on dimensionals. I thought about that, but because it's just designer series paper all by itself, it would be a little on the flimsy side. And so I think I'm going to pop up our, well, I don't know that I'm going to pop that up, but I am going to add some pretty gems. So we're just going to put our bird just like that right there in the center. That is beautiful. Then we're going to take this little guy and we're just going to put him right over here on the bottom right-hand side of our card. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and adhere this down. And put it right, we're just going to put it right up along the edge and glue that flat. And then I'm going to add, and again, these are very flat gems. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. They're really flat. So I'm going to add a couple of these on our card. And I think I'll use these. I don't know what color these are. They look like beige, I guess. I'm just going to put a few of them around here just to give it a little bit of sparkle. And maybe we'll put a little bigger one, maybe right down here. There we go. So that is the front of our card. I absolutely love it. And now we're going to take the inside here and we're just going to adhere this to the inside. Now, the other thing I could do inside the card, which would be kind of pretty since I have this extra one, is conceivably I could do something where it's like halfway in the corner, maybe like that. Oh, that's pretty. I don't know. That looks a little too bulky. Okay, never mind. We could probably cut it, but I think for this, we're just going to leave this nice and simple. Okay. I thought maybe I could put that on the inside, but I think we'll just stick with the basics here. We'll have to see. We might do something there. I don't know. All right, let me get this right down, get it lined up correctly. and make sure our border is nice and even. There we go. And voila, there is our little card. Now we're going to go and I'm going to show you guys how to make an envelope. And this is a piece of designer series paper as well. You know, so many times I think, oh, you know, I don't want to use all my paper. And it's like, now I've got boatloads of it. So I'm learning to use it. So this is going to be the inside of our envelope. And then this is the outside. So what I want to show you is just, I want to tell you, I should say, the scoring measurements. All right. So this is 8.5 by 7 1/4. So 8.5 by 7 1/4. And remember, I will be sending out a template or the recipes tomorrow or Tuesday. It's been Tuesday. So be sure to sign up for that mailing list. And just a little quick reminder, when you guys sign up, it might ask you to confirm that email. If it does, that means you just need to check your junk mail, your inbox, your spam mail, because you just have to go in and say, yes, I want to get emails. Otherwise, it will not let me send you an email through Constant Contact. So I'm calling tomorrow about it, but just so you know, make sure you do that. There's nothing I can do. I've deleted people and re-added them, and it just says waiting their approval. So anyhow, okay, totally off topic. Okay, so 8.5 by 7 1/4. Now on that long side, you are going to score it at 1.5 inches and 8 inches. So 1.5 and 8 on the long side. On the short side, you are going to score it at 2 inches and then 5.5. Okay, so 2 inches and 5.5. All right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to, I'm going to burnish these lines. We just have a little bit of trimming to do on, and it's a little hard to see on this, excuse me, on the designer paper versus the cardstock there. But hopefully you'll be able to see it. So we have 2 lines there, and then we have 2 lines here. The other thing too is I didn't go really hard on the designer paper because it can sometimes, when you're running it through, it'll, sometimes it'll, you know, crack. This of course was not even close. I probably could have put it down a little bit more, but you just have to be a little careful. Okay, so now we have some little flaps here that we need to trim off. So I'm going to turn to this side because I think I can see it just a little bit better. And let me kind of show you guys what we're getting rid of. So we're going to get rid of this side, this piece here. We're going to get rid of this piece and this piece here. Okay, so those are the four ends that we're going to be chopping off. Okay, I'm going to find our long scissors. I like these a little bit better when I'm trimming. Okay, so I'm going to take the scissors and I'm just going to take that piece off right there. And then I'm just going to go slightly in on the bottom. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here, just slightly in. And then cut this piece off. And this is the bottom part of our envelope. And then we're going to go up here and basically do the exact same thing. Let me make sure I got that right. Yep. Just going to trim that off. And then again, I'm going to go in a little bit, ever so slightly on the top. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just go in slightly and then trim this off here. Make sure we got that right. Oops, there we go. And this is what you guys should end up with. Those other pieces you can just toss. I don't think there's enough there for us to do anything with. Now what we're going to do is one flap is bigger than the other. So when you lay them down, you're going to notice one is going to go over, see that? Just over a little bit of an area. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to go and we're going to add some adhesive. Grab that off. Okay, and we're just going to add a small bead of adhesive along that edge there. Okay, and then we're just going to press this down. You don't want to go too far, too far down. You don't want to put too much, because if it oozes out, then you're kind of, your cards can stick inside. I'm going to grab a little wipe here. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and adhere the bottom. So now we're going to take this piece here and we're just going to adhere that to the bottom of the card. So the same thing applies, just add a bead of glue, try to get it around the outside just so it doesn't come, it doesn't like get caught on anything, I guess. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. And we'll just rub that right over there. Perfect. And then this is just the top of our envelope. Oops, I got a little bit of a bump up there. I think when I cut this, I was just slightly off, which it doesn't even really matter, to be super honest with you. I'm just going to leave it. So now I can take this part and put it right down on my card, right like that. And there we go. So that's the top of our envelope. And because it's a light color, I can easily put my address on there. And I could even do some stamping if I wanted to. So now, just so you guys can see. So this is 3.5, and it's 3.5 by 6.5. Okay, that's the size of the envelope. So now this easily fits in there. And you can send a gift card, whatever, and there you have it. I absolutely love this fold. I did this about, I think it's 4 years ago. I don't know. It was a while ago. I made a video on how to make this too, so you can go back to that one if you'd like. But same measurements apply. So again, mini card. That's our fun fold. All right, we have one more thing to make. Okay, I'm gonna need our scoring tool. I have some measurements and stuff here just so I can remember. Okay, so here are our pieces. Now, again, I did a lot of work ahead of time just because, I'm trying to, so we don't spend too much time, you guys watching me color, I guess. So here we have the little, a bird. I stamped it in early espresso, and then I colored it using Stampin' blends. And I used Daffodil Delight and dark, and then I used Lemon Lolly, and I think another light yellow. You can use any yellow you want, but I wanted to match the paper. And then I did the berries in Real Red. And then the little trunk is in crumb cake. So that's the bird. And again, I stamped it, and then I could make it any color I wanted. And I wanted a yellow bird. This is a piece of cherry cobbler at 2 inches. Then you get, in this set, you get these little dies. And where is, oh, here they are. So these are the 2 dies. So one cuts out a stamped image, and this one just cuts out a piece of paper, designer paper or cardstock. So I made a couple leaves using that die, and then I stamped a couple of these. They look like, I don't know what you guys would call them. They look like little pussy willows. That's what they remind me of. So that is, and what I did was I stamped them on designer series paper. So it made them already kind of colored a little bit. They're just real light, real faint. And then of course I just tied a bow. Then I have a couple pieces of designer paper. These are cut at, let me tell you, so I don't forget. These 2 pieces are cut at 2 3/4 by 2 1/4. So 2 3/4 by 2 1/4. And then this one is cut at 2 1/4 by 1 1/4. And this is just where we're going to put maybe a sentiment. Okay. And then this is our main piece for our little treat holder. And this piece is 8 1/2 by 3 1/2. So I saw this from a gal in the pink is her YouTube channel or blog. So she did a wonderful job explaining it. So I wanted to share it with you guys because I thought it was super cool. And you can get 3 treat boxes out of 1 piece of paper. So if you remember when we did, let me show it to you. When we did this little guy, remember that? Remember when we made this little treat? This was like day 1, week 1. We made this little treat box that holds some candy, and you can get 3 of these out of 1 piece of cardstock. So this is very similar. We're being very frugal with our paper. Okay. So here's our piece of cardstock. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to score our paper on the short side. We're going to score it at 1/2 inch and at 3 inches. So 1/2 inch and at 3 inches. Then on the long side, we are going to score it at 1 1.5 inches, at 2 inches. Then you're going to score it. Now, hear me out, because this gets a little bit, this is the only part that's tricky, and it's not like completely necessary. But at 3 1/2, you're just going to make a score line that is right at the first score line. Okay, so just a very small, real small score line. Okay, so that's at 3 1/2. Then you're going to make another one at 5 1/2. Now, you have one more thing to do. You are going to turn your paper around, and then at 5 inches, you're going to do another one of those. Just make a line, and it should be right across from the other one. So can you guys see that? I have a little score line there. That's it. It's just so you find out where you're going to end, kind of where you cut, so to speak. Okay? All right. So now we're all done scoring. So this is the base of our box, and we are going to do some cutting. Okay. So what we're going to do is make sure I didn't miss in all of my talking. No, I didn't. So let me just double check here. Make sure I got the right pieces here. Let me see. Okay. Yep. Okay, I think, I did. I'm sorry. I did forget a line. You know, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I didn't do something right. Sorry, guys. Okay, I just left out one more line. Whew, on the long side. I got so carried away about those little lines. So we did 5 inches or 5 1/2. We need one at 5. That's what was throwing me off. Okay, so 1 1/2, 2, these 2 little lines, and then 5 and 5 1/2. All right. Now we can keep going. All right. Okay, now we're going to take our scissors here, and we are going to cut all this. Let's start with what we're going to just cut off. So right on that score line, we are going to cut down all the way, all the way to that little score line. Okay? So right to that little piece that we had to put in that was special. Okay, we're going to go right to that and cut straight across. And I just did a little bit. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing on the left side. I'm going to go, or on the, the opposite side. I'm going to go straight down. to that little score line and cut that off. So this is what I should have so far. Then we're going to go up here, just like we always do, right? Whenever we're making some sort of box, we take those little tabs, those small squares, and you're just going to tag it out. You're just going to create a little tag, just like that. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Find that really small little box, tag it out, and cut it a little bit at an angle on both sides. There we go. Peel off the little baby pieces. All right, there we go. Okay, now, if you are using directional paper, I might wait before you do this, but since we're using standard paper, I think we can get away with it. So we're going to put one here. This is the front of our box. And then this is currently upside down, but it is going to be the inside of our box. So I think those are two that we can automatically go ahead and adhere to our card here. So that's what we're going to do because it's a little easier when it's flat. Okay. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put this piece up here. And again, these are the pieces, if you remember, oops, got a big glob of glue, oops, all over. That's funny. All right, let me grab that. Getting right off this glass mat. Nice reason to have that little guy for sure. Okay. So we have one piece here, and now we're going to go ahead and adhere this other one. And we'll put him right down at the bottom. There we go. And then we're going to flip it over, and then this piece is going to go up in here. Okay, so this is kind of the opposite side. And I was going to do some stamping on this piece, but I decided I was not going to do that. I initially did, actually I did it, and I didn't like the way it looked. So I think if I would have spent more time, it might have looked pretty good, but I just decided not to. All right, so we have a piece that's up there on both sides. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I don't have any other glue. I think it's on my finger. Okay, so now what we're going to do next is take our box and let's adhere it together. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these little tabs and we are going to add some adhesive right on those two. And then we're going to bring those two right in and make sure, again, as always, we're just going to make sure those are lined up and straight. So we're going to go here, make sure that that one's lined up, bring this one down, line it up straight right there. Make sure it's down. There we go. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. These two guys in the front, we're going to bring that down and we're going to adhere them to the outside of the box. Okay, so we want those to be on the outside. And if you guys ever have this, see that little bit that's sticking out? You can keep it. It's not going to hurt anything. But if you wanted to just, you know, kind of chop him off, you could, just to give it a nicer, cleaner look. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add adhesive to these two outside flaps. And we're going to bring them up because they're, and the reason we're doing it this way is because now they're in the back of our box as opposed to in the front of the box. That's why, and the reason we don't put them on the inside is because they could sometimes catch on whatever item or element you're sticking inside the box. So now you can do it either way. You can You can put them on the outside, inside. It doesn't matter. But the other thing too is if you put them on the inside, then that crease is going to show in the front of your box, and you probably don't want that. Okay, so there we have part of our treat holder. And this is how our box folds then. This is how it pops open. And let me show you, well, let me finish we'll finish decorating the front. So this is the front. So now we're going to take and adhere our bird to the circle. And I'm going to put this up on some dimensionals here on the front of our card. Let me just see. Yep. Sometimes I want those dimensionals to fit a certain way. So that's the reason I make sure that it's straight. Because sometimes it's not always that way. All right. Now, I think for this one, I'm going to take some of our red ribbon here that we used the other day, and I'm just going to snip off just a little bit of it. And we're just going to kind of adhere a glue dot and then put it kind of in the center there a little bit. So just so a little of it sticks out. So I'm going to put a glue dot on it, kind of fold it in half so we get a couple of these little, you know, kind of sticks like that. And then I'll put another glue dot on it. And most of this is going to get covered up by our circle. But if we kind of put it here kind of in the middle, and then we're going to take this and we're going to put it right over top like that. Now I'm going to take these two and I'm going to trim these down with my sharper scissors here. So we'll just cut that down just a little bit so it doesn't. Now I'm not mailing this, so actually I think I'll just leave it like that because it doesn't matter if it sticks out. That way we get a little bit of color on our box. And then I have, remember some of these little guys that I told you about? I'm just going to stick some of those in here. Just going to find where I can fit them. So that looks like a place. So we'll just add a little adhesive here. Not a lot. Oops. It's gonna, there we go. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to start it down on this end here. There we go. See if I can kind of pop that in there a little bit. I think I'm hitting up against the piece of ribbon. All right. And then we'll maybe add a little bit of this greenery too. Let me see if I can. So lesson learned as I'm doing this, right? I probably would have you guys maybe, you know, actually, let me take that out. Yeah, that's not working like I thought it would. I probably should have, you know what? We're going to do something totally different. I think this might have been my initial intention. Actually, I'm going to put it down here and create almost a little bit of a, what do you call it? Like just a little bit of, like greenery or a wreath, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All right, so let me add a little bit more. And I'm going to just put that right here around the edge. Yeah, I think this was my original intent. Because you know why? I put that red ribbon down there because I saw it sitting over here and I'm like, oh wow, I have green. So, you know, maybe we'll just do all of that. It's like a little overkill, but you know what? We're going to add it anyhow because it's already here. It's nice old bow. You know what this reminds me of? The person that puts up all the Christmas lights, and they just keep putting up Christmas lights and putting up Christmas lights. All right, there we go. Now we have one more thing. Because we want our box to stay closed, we are going to use one of these little glue dots, or these adhesive dots. They're these little Velcro stickers, and you get 350. I think they cost like $10. I don't know. They might not even cost that. So it's sticky on both sides automatically. So I'm just going to put them together. And now I just put them inside my box here. So I'm going to lay it right there. And then I'm going to shut the lid. And look at that. And now I can open it. Make sure I get those down all the way, because they are really, really sticky. So I'm just going to maybe press those down just a little bit more. There we go. And then just to give you guys an idea of what fits in here. So you can put like a little bag or a little candy bar. These are a little thing of this Mott's assorted fruit. And that fits very nicely right inside. And then I can close that right up with that Velcro. And there you go. Yeah, there we go. I'm just going to get it so it's all lined up. There we go. And there you have it. Isn't that adorable? I love it. And it's super sturdy, you know, because it's got two sides and it's got a little closure. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So there you guys go. Those are our 3 projects for today. So we have our template card, our sketch card. I don't know why I keep calling that a template. And then we have our fun fold, which was a mini slimline card and an envelope. So I hope you guys love those projects. Tell me what you think. We used some different colors today, you know, no red, no Christmassy, but I think all of these could be beautiful Christmas cards, or even like we talked about, like fall. All right. Well, look for that recipe instructions for the 3 days of projects. I should have that mailed out by Tuesday. So just make sure, if you haven't already, if you're already on that mailing list, by all means, you are going to get it. Okay. Oh, I did have one more thing. Surprise at the end. One of the other things, you know, these little berry things I was telling you guys about, I just wanted to show you. You could also, I colored them in different colors, and look, they look like little string lights. So you could put them in a card like this, you know, and make a whole little string of lights. I mean, how cute would that be? Or add them to like the little bird's nest or something. So there's that. And then one of the dies I didn't actually use on any of the cards is this little leaf. You get the die. There's no stamp for it. You just get the die, and it makes these little leaves. So if you wanted to, you could make something like this and actually stick these in and make it a little more full. But I didn't use them. There's always so many things, right? So that was it. That was the only other thing I wanted to let you guys know about. And that's it. We'll talk to you later. Bye.